Hey, welcome back to Tony's Auto Works and Off-Road. Today we're going to be working on the JK again. We're going to be installing a brand new Mopar Performance Radiator. I got sponsored by Auto Publicity and car sponsors. I thought about doing an aluminum radiator, but after looking at the forums for JKs and TJs and basically any Jeep, a lot of people recommend the regular plastic radiators because when you are articulating off-road, the aluminum radiators tend to, allegedly they tend to crack at extreme articulation angles. So the best way to go is with these Mopar Performance radiators. And they're going to be $200 less than an aluminum radiator. I do like to upgrade to silicone hoses, and I usually do Mishimoto for that. And that's what we will be doing with this one as well. But we're going to be going with the Mopar Performance Radiator. So this is kind of a lengthy process. You basically have to take apart the whole front of the Jeep, but it's not too bad. As long as you got all the tools you need and the parts you need and everything, it should go by pretty smoothly. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Here's our brand new Mopar Performance Radiator. As you can see, looks just like the stock one. This is going to be better than some of the other ones that you find online that are, the same plastic tanks on the side. Obviously, you're going to spend more for this, but it's worth it, I assure you. Now, make sure you got a pair of nice safety glasses, clears preferably. This thing holds about 9.9 liters of coolant, is what they say. So make sure that you got something to put it in. I know that this does not have that because it's been leaking for a while, so it's going to be a little bit less than that. Either way, we're going to go up here and we're going to turn the, there's like a little key on the bottom of the radiator and it opens up the drain. We're going to go ahead and drain the radiator. It'll be easiest to take this skid plate off here first. You got two bolts down here. They should be 15 millimeters. Okay, so this one's going to be a half. You also have bolts going through the top there on both sides. So you have to have something on top there to get those loose. The 15s. Right there is your drain, and that little key I was telling you about, turn it counterclockwise. Now if you can find a little piece of hose, something like this, to kind of divert the coolant when you're pouring it into the jug, that'd be good, or else, it can be kind of messy. Now, if you're like me and have some of a lift on your Wrangler, you're going to want to get your front end down as low as you can, because you're going to be working in your engine bay a lot. First thing we're going to do is we need to remove the air intake and the coolant reservoir. And I actually have a custom reservoir on here, so yours might be a little bit different, but it's all going to be pretty similar. It's basic tools. We're going to start with a Phillips, or you can use, I believe it's an 8mm to remove these band clamps here. Now I do have another video where I installed this custom aluminum reservoir from Mishimoto right here, but it's pretty simple. You just have a couple bolts up here. Pretty simple. You can go ahead and watch that video if you need to figure out how to remove that. Up here, you've got two 10mm bolts here that hold the intake onto this plastic cover for the radiator. Now you're going to see a kind of like an air temp sensor here. You have a clip on the back here. Pull it out, check for corrosion. Then go ahead and set this aside. Go ahead and take out your air filter. And the housing here should be able to just pull up on it with a firm grip and get that out of there. Well, and as you can see, sometimes they don't want to come out right or they'll break. I'm going to go ahead and remove this coolant reservoir here, and then we're going to start with the upper hose. And these JK hoses, they have a little like dip down here where they'll hold coolant. So when you take this off of here and use some pliers to get this clamp off, and push your hose back and try not to spill any coolant. And it's going to be the same with the lower hose. We do not need to, unless you're replacing the hoses, you do not need to take them off of the block. You'll see here that I moved the clamp back on the upper radiator hose, and the clamp back on the lower radiator hose. Just enough to where it's off the radiator housing piece. Now you're going to see a wire connector here, a harness. It is connected to your electric fan. Now once you start messing with this kind of stuff, you'll probably want to disconnect the ground on your battery, the black cable. And then we've got 2 bolts on the top of the radiator electric fan. We're going to go ahead and take those out. We need to take off the plastic clips of this plastic radiator cover here. Make sure you've got some extra clips with you. I bought some specifically for this because they always break. Now you want to get yourself a nice trim tool. I get all mine from Precision LED. That's where I get all my LEDs for my vehicles. They're fantastic lights, but that's not the point of this video. Get yourself a nice trim tool, or you can use a flathead, don't really matter. And then come in here and pull these bad boys out. One by one. Sometimes they're gonna break, sometimes they won't. You know the deal. Once you take those clips out, it'll just pull right out. Now it's come time to where we need to remove the grill. So these, there's about 4 or 5 of these clips up here. Just pull these clips out all the way across. I'm missing 1. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to go ahead and pull these out. Now, with those clips out, you can see the top is loose here. We have to pull from the bottom and be real careful because these lights have harnesses. And it'll pop right out. Now obviously those are probably plastic clips holding that in, so you want to be real careful. Then you've got light harnesses for these turn signals down here. Just should be able to just turn them lights out. Huh. Oh. Yeah, so we're gonna pull those out. Now that you got your grill off, we're gonna take out the transmission cooler. You've got a 5/16 on the left over here, and then 2 10mm on this side. So let's go ahead and take those out. Now that you removed your transmission cooler, it's going to just hang there like that. Now you have, to get the AC condenser out, there's 2 bolts at the top here. Those are both 5/16 as well. And that should be it for the AC condenser. The AC condenser also has 2 bolts down here at the bottom on both sides. Now we're going to take off, we're going to unplug the harness for the electric fan. You have 2 bolts right here, right over here. And those should also be 5/16. Yep. Go ahead and unplug your harness for the electric fan, check for corrosion, and then that just pops right out. Now you just have 2 bolts at the top of the radiator on both sides, right underneath the filler cap there. Those are 10s. Once you take out those 2 bolts, that should be it. The radiator should come out. Just double check everything. And you're gonna have some coolant left over in there, so, you know, get a fun little mess on the ground. So down on the driver's side of the radiator, the AC condenser lines are bolted into the radiator with 1 bolt. Feels like a 10mm. Right on the side here, there's a 5/16 holding the AC condenser lines to the radiator. Come on, camera, focus. You're gonna see back here, once you get your radiator in there, the first thing you're going to want to put back together is you're going to want to get the bolts in at the top of the radiator to make sure that it stays where it's at, and then mount up your AC condenser and then your transmission cooler, and then you can come over to the side where that bolt was and mount up these lines to the side of the radiator. Once you get your radiator in and every bolt tightened down, go ahead and put your electrical fan back in, the 2 bolts on the top, and plug in the harness. Now this is the part of the project that some of you may or may not be doing. Either way, I got some Mishimoto upper and lower radiator hoses, and they come with hose clamps as well. These were sponsored by Auto Publicity and car sponsors as well. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to disconnect the hoses on the block, and we're going to put these nice new silicone hoses on there and connect them to the radiator. These are a really nice upgrade from your rubber stock hoses. These will last probably double a lifetime. Now for your upper radiator hose right here, it connects right here to the housing on the front of the block, and it's got the same clamp on it. So bring your same pliers out. Now be careful, like I said, that this hose is going to have a lot of coolant in it. You want to try your best to not make a mess, but it can be kind of difficult, especially with just one person. You may need a flat head to loosen up the seal on the housing a little bit. Now, if you're if you're replacing these, you don't have to really worry about hurting the hose. But if you were replacing this, if you're replacing the housing or the water pump or something, you know, you'd want to be careful. There's where the lower hose connects down there. Then we have it held up over here on the passenger side of the block. So we're going to do the same thing with that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That lower hose might give you a bit of a hard time. But now that we got both of the upper and lower radiator hoses off, we are going to install our new Mishimoto hoses exactly the same way that we removed the other ones, except we're going to use the nice new hose clamps that the hoses came with. They've got the little flathead screw instead of having to deal with those plier clamps. A little bit easier to deal with, actually a lot. So let's go ahead and get that done. Your shorter hose that comes in the kit, and you'll know this just by taking the old ones off, but the shorter one is going to be the top. And make sure you keep mind of where which side was on which side so that you know how to put it in correctly. Alright, so now that we got our hose put on, we can start putting the front of the Jeep back together. You're going to start with your grill, and there's a few clips on the grill here that you'll want to put in the front first. It goes in exactly the way we took it out, but there's some things you want to look at before you just go shoving it in there, because you don't want to break any clips, right? So I'm going to pull the camera over here and kind of show you what we're doing. Alright, so inside here, we've got two clips here. They clip right into the front of this frame piece here. And it looks like I had two more, but they broke off at one point. Now, and remember that we gotta reconnect our blinkers here on both sides with the harnesses. Make sure that you're putting it in there the right way. And slide those clips in carefully. And they should pop right in. Now up here on the top of the grill, you have these clips with like the kind of push button sort of deal. I apparently lost one of the plugs, but that's okay. That's why I bought a whole bag of plastic clips, because these things always break or you lose them. Now it is easier to get this plastic piece into the underside of the grill piece here before you put these clips in, but it's still doable, as you can see. Snapped right in. Make sure that kind of hook goes around the hood prop deal. Make sure it's nice and sturdy in there. Looks good. So once you get this in, you get your 6 on the grill in. There's going to be 4 on this plastic piece here. They go right into the top of the fan shroud here. And then we can go ahead and start putting our intake back in. There's 2 bolts here that we took out earlier. This hose, this sensor here, and then we can put in our coolant reservoir. Left to do now, we're gonna slap back up our skid plate. And then we're gonna start pouring coolant in it. Make sure that you burp the system real good, because these JK hoses on the top, the upper radiator hoses, they've got like a dip in them, as you saw. They like to hold coolant there and have a bubble kind of at the top there, so make sure you get your Jeep on a real good angle, or go have it professionally vacuumed and then filled up. Either way, make sure you get it done right so you don't have any airlock issues or overheating issues later on. So as you can see, really the most difficult part about this project is removing that lower radiator hose off of the block. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but everything else really simple. You can do it by yourself. Pretty basic tools. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. And if you like this video, please do subscribe, press that like button, and go check out my other videos.